God.
Shalom, shalom. All right, so let's continue our evaluation and examination of Second Esdras, the 5th chapter. Of course, we're talking about the tokens, aka the signs of the end times, and also want to touch on faith and why it's so important for us to build our faith in these last days. We know, pursuant to Hebrews, the 1st chapter, that the last days really began as soon as Yahweh left planet Earth in the physical form. So, we don't know how much time is left on this thing, So we have to keep that in mind, be steadfast and be girded, and be watchers. All right, we're going to talk about that too. Watching for these tokens, so we'll know, at least know when things are winding down even more than what they already have. We have to be watchmen. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back in. Start at the top, Second Esdras chapter 5, and we'll start again with verse 1 for a recap. We got down to, we finished up verse 8, but we're going to do a recap. Last time with Revelation, the 12th chapter, that breakdown, we did a recap that was like 30 to 45 minutes long. So this time I won't do that, but we'll at least give a slight recap here. So let's start at the top.
It's the book of Second Esdras, chapter 5 and verse 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith.
All right. So concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come when they that dwell upon the earth, that's talking about everyone that dwells upon the earth, shall be taken in a great number. Lives are taken away, meaning death. All right, a great number of deaths. Some of these towns may be looking like ghost towns, man. It may only be a few people in them. That's how bad it's going to be. All right, and the way of truth shall be hidden. You won't be able to just hop on YouTube, where this is going to be posted at, or just call somebody up. Hey, bro, what's that scripture again? What's that breakdown again? What's that Revelation 12 link again? You won't be able to do that. The way of truth is going to be hidden. And like we said last week in First Maccabees, I want to say the 56th verse on down, you see how then the Greeks were burning the scriptures that we had as a people. They're going to institute more and more things like that. I posted that link where over there in China, they banned the Quran and the Bible app, or certain Bible apps and Quran apps on the people's phones over there. So they trying to make the way of the truth hidden, because it's completely, counterintuitive to the narrative that they put out on us. You can't have verses in Leviticus straight up telling you that homosexuality is an abomination, and people can just go straight to it. So they want that out of here, man. They don't want the truth out. So the way of truth is going to be hidden. And the land barren of faith, because when we see these signs, we're going to know even more. We know the scriptures are real now, but it's going to become more and more evident. Our faith will increase, but the land thereof will be barren of faith, because they put their trust and hope into this place. All right, they believe in this money system and everything else. Again, I'm not one of these guys that, act like you have to be out here homeless to be in the truth, because that's not the case. However, you're not supposed to put your soul and your spirit into this. It's just something this is all something we know we have to do for right now, but it's not going to mean a thing in these last days. You're not going to be able to purchase anything anyway. from everything that we're about to read. All right, so let's go to verse 2.
Verse 2, but iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago.
Yeah, sin is iniquity. It's going to be increased. You know, it's already bad in a lot of places. Like you go to Atlanta, it's a freak fest out there, man. I remember one time, me and my rib, we were just eating at this restaurant on Sunday, and we looked outside, and it was a whole gay parade. Just looked like it was just unannounced. You know, transgenders, all types of things. Looked like a circus show, man. Like just in the streets, they were just taking over. You know, men out here with little shorts on and all type of rainbows. Man, imagine seeing that just even more abundant than it is now, not just in Atlanta, even in your quote unquote conservative states, doing that junk in Florida and you know, over here in Alabama, things of that nature. Keep going.
Verse 3, and the land that thou seest now to have root, shall thou see wasted suddenly.
See, this land has root now. You know, this is United States of America is supposed to be the most, you know, popular and rich country there is. You know, thousands of people die every year trying to swim over here, trying to find their way over here, and things of that nature. But it's going to be wasted suddenly. The land that you see now, it's going to be wasted. It's going to be a wasteland, man. All right, keep going.
Verse 4, but if the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day.
That's if the Most High grants you to live. You'll see that sun, that knowledge coming back suddenly. All right. You know, and it's going to be our people that bring the sun and the moon back. That's not literally referring to the sun and the moon going all the way out, because if the sun is dark, meaning it's completely gone, then, you know, everybody would freeze to death. It's referring to the knowledge and the wisdom. All right, that moon shining thrice in a day, wisdom being restored, at least to a certain extent, enough for our people. All right, keep going.
Verse 5, and blood shall drop out of wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled.
It's going to be some troubled people, man. You know, kicking off. Let's go to verse 7.
Verse 6. Verse 6.
Con.
And the even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth, and the fowls shall take their flight away together.
Okay. So we got here that the fowls were referring to the other nations. And even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth. Now let's get this one more time. There's one thing that I realized that I didn't say when we were concerning this parable here in Matthew 13. Read that again, Matthew 13, and start at verse 31.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 13 and verse 31. Another parable he put forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field.
So what I forgot to mention is, look here, it says that the kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed. But we also talked about how that mustard seed represents the children of Israel, right? Because the kingdom of heaven represents the children of Israel. You know, didn't Paul say that the kingdom of heaven is in you, is within you? I believe in 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. So the kingdom of heaven is within the children of Israel, the elect. All right. That grain of mustard seed, that small seed. All right. Just in case y'all haven't seen one before, y'all probably have. I'll just pull one up real quick. I remember at a so-called church, they had gave them out. That's the first time I had seen one. Mustard seed. Knowing that their faith even smaller than that. Mustard seed. So, you know, Esau got his little nasty hand on one right here. Let's just show you how small it is. You see? So that's what we represent right now. You know, just like the Lord said that the last will be first and the first will be last. Right now, we represent the last. We like a grain of a mustard seed. But we being sown in the field right now. And remember, the field is the world. That says that in this same chapter. All right, keep going.
Verse 32, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof.
All right. So it becomes the greatest. The last becomes the first. All right. That small grain of a mustard seed sprouts and becomes that great tree, likened it to the tree of life. All right. And the birds of the air, which are beasts, they come and lodge on the branches thereof, but they don't have the same glory as that tree. All right. That those birds can only live if they have the tree. All right. They have nowhere to land, you know, nowhere to plant their youngs, you know, the youngins. They have nowhere to put them at. All right. They can't live without that mighty tree. All right. So that's referring to the children of Israel, likened to the kingdom of heaven. Also likened to that tree, the tree of life. And then the birds of the other nations that have to come and lodge, because we know that. So a lot of people say, is salvation only for Israel? And then, you know, you have other people that'll say, well, yeah, the other nations can be saved. But if you look at the word salvation, salvation means to be saved, of course, but also that those that will inherit the kingdom of heaven, that's reserved for Israel only. Now, if you're referring to other nations being inside the new world, after this world is destroyed and rebuilt, yeah, we have to have servants. So there's going to be other nations there, but I don't know if you call that being saved per se. So we know we're going to have the other nations in. You get that in Micah, the 4th chapter as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let's get that real quick. So we'll get the point here where it says, come and lodge in the branches thereof. I believe it's Micah, the 4th chapter. I'll have it pulled up. Yeah, let's get that real quick.
The book of Micah, chapter 4 and verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it.
All right, keep going.
And many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go up into the mountain of the Lord, and the house of and the house of God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
You see that? Many nations shall come and say, come and let us go into the mountain. What else is likened into a mountain? What else is tall? A tree. All right, those trees of the Lord. All right, and to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, because the other nations will all have to keep the commandments, or they're going to be cut off. Thus saith the Lord. All right, they will be completely destroyed if they do not keep our ways. All right, we're going to be the new end thing. Right now, the so-called white man and his woman is the end thing right now. All right, we're going to be the end thing. Everybody going to be, doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing right now. They're going to be keeping laws, keeping the Sabbath, keeping the feast days. All right. So that's why it says he will teach us his ways and we will walk in his paths, for the law go forth of Zion and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, because it's going to be known who the children of the Lord are. And we're going to get that in 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter. All right, but I just want Con.
Oh, I was going to ask the question just to confirm. So, you know, when you just talking about the heathens or whatnot, they don't have to serve, you know, I guess take on our customer be put to death. Just so the Edomites are the only ones that's gonna be completely done away with.
Yeah, that's the only. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I was just saying, but the other nations will, the ones that make it, they'll still be allowed to, I guess, you know, live once they captivity over. Is that correct?
When you said when their captivity is over?
Well, like I said, as far as taking on our, I rephrased it bad, but as far as taking on our customs and whatnot.
Yeah, so they're going to be there because every single kingdom has always had servants and has always had slaves. Even this kingdom here, the current slaves are the people serving free servitude in the prison industrial complex. That's the modern day slaves. They just don't come out and tell you that. So yeah, we're going to have them to be servants and slaves. All right, for an inheritance. Okay. But the children of Esau, that's a nation that's the only nation that is prophesied to be completely destroyed. So you're going to have other nations of people there, but eventually they're going to be completely wiped away. Esau will.
Okay.
And that's yeah, no problem, Mark. That's in the book of Obadiah, of course.
Oh yeah.
And then you probably know the scriptures on as far as them being an inheritance to us. That talks a little bit more about this. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I don't know why I got confused on just clear up the what's the name? Was it just gonna be Esau, the only kingdom that was wiped away completely?
Yeah, that's the only kingdom prophesied to be completely wiped away. As far as what we have, but who knows? Ishmael could go off and be gone too. You know, who knows? Depending on, you know, how they acting. If they, you know, for the ones that say, "Oh, I ain't keeping no Sabbath." All right. Good night.
Come. Thanks for that, Al.
All praises. All right, so I said I wasn't gonna have a long recap, but look at me go. All right, so let's go ahead and get verse. We got verse 7. We talked about that. We talked about verse 8. Let's just go ahead and jump into verse 9, verse that we haven't covered yet.
It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 5 and verse 9. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself unto his secret chamber.
So this is deep here, man. The salt water shall be found in the sweet. Let's get where I got Sirach 16 at. Oh, where you at? I just knew I had Sirach pulled up. All right. Slakia. What? Yeah. Oh, it's right here. Okay. No. That's definitely not it. Hold on. Y'all bear with me. No, okay. I see what I did. I took it out thinking I had this twice. My bad, y'all. Let's get Sirach chapter 39 and verse 23.
The book of Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 23. And it reads, and he hath turned the waters into saltness, so shall the heathen inherit his wrath.
So who is likened to salty water or salt water? The heathen. All right. The waters into saltness, so shall the heathen inherit his wrath. So the salt water shall be found in the sweet, they shall be discovered. All right. Like we said, all of the heathens now, all of their devices is going to be discovered. All right. All the lies that they brought out, all the things that they do, you know, if y'all saw those emails with Hillary Clinton when she talked about a pizza party and they really talking about little boys and little girls, all that stuff is going to be brought to the light, man. You know, they're going to be found out. And all friends shall destroy each other. Let's get that. Let's get that in 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and then verse 24.
It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 24.
Slacky, start at verse 23 for a little bit more context.
Verse 23. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid.
Okay, and what happened next?
At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run.
So those springs of the fountains shall stand still. The living water shall stand still for 3 hours. Is that a literal 3 hours? That's not a literal 3 hours, but we know that, you know, it's going to be a drought on the word. All right. And enemies, well, friends shall fight as enemies. You know, these people that's, you know, they try to prepare for the end times. I'm not saying that, you know, we shouldn't be stocking up on food just because, but, you know, people go overboard with it and they trying to get, you know, 10 years supply of food, and it's not going to matter in these days. Matter of fact, it'll probably just make you a bigger target. You know, you're going to be bragging to people, oh yeah, I got 1,000 cans of beans in my back. No, you're going to be a target. You tell your neighbor that, now you're going to be the first person he come, you know, when all this pop off, you're going to be the first person slave, man. Neighbors going to be fighting against each other like enemies, friends. All right. The brothers want to say something on that? Con.
I ain't got me right now. Con.
All right. And then it said here, then shall wit hide itself. We know wit, or being witty, that's that knowledge. It's going to hide itself. All right. And understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. Remember in Ezekiel 47 chapter, when we talked about that rising river, that water, that living water that started, you know, at the ankles to the knees and to the loins, and then it became an impassable river. That's going to withdraw itself. Again, there's going to be a famine on the word. All right. You're not going to be able to go to YouTube and just check out a breakdown or a camp. You know, nobody's going to be out on the corners teaching. You're not going to be able to find anybody that has the word, or you're not going to be able to find the word. They're going to shut down all the Bible apps, man. They're probably going to be ravaging the houses looking for all the scriptures. I'm going to start with that apocrypha. They're going to come get the book of Sirach up off us, man. At least going to try to. All right. So, it shall be sought of many, yet not be found. It shall, oh, that's the next verse. I'm tripping. Go ahead, Ock.
Book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 5 and verse 10. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and inconsistencies be multiplied upon earth.
All right, that's what we're just talking about. It shall be sought for by many. You know, we know in the book of Isaiah, the 4th chapter, we know people don't want to deal with that, but I believe I still had that pulled up. All right, read Isaiah, the 4th chapter, in verse 1.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, and verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
So in that day, all right, for the men, this is going to be a nightmare. But imagine if you were a woman. All right, all these women talking about the independent, all that is going to end. There will not be a strong, independent Black woman in those days. At least I won't say it won't be, because there's some that's going to ride that to the end, but they're going to be destroyed. All right. But for everybody else that was just really just saying that just because everybody else was saying it, they're going to be one of these 7 women trying to cleave onto one man of the Lord. All right. So, yeah, it's here. You got to deal with it. 7 women will take hold to one man. We will eat our own bread. We don't need your food. We'll wear our own apparel. You ain't even got to give me no food or no clothes. Just cleave on to me. Just take me in. To take away our reproach.
Need that last name to take away that shame, Mark.
Right. That's what they're gonna be wanting to do in these last days, man. That's how bad it's gonna be. You know, man, think about how these women are nowadays, man. You know it's gonna be bad if they're trying to do that. You know, 2 women, that's crazy, but 7?
Yep. Unheard of. For a Black man at the least.
Yeah, because we all dogs and rapists and, exactly. Controlling and all that, right?
Hey, that's the consensus. We the worst man on earth.
That's what they say, That's what they say.
But,
all right.
Like the tables turn.
Tables shall turn. All right, so we also need to get this as well, to get the classic. Brothers already knew this was coming out. Get the book of Amos, chapter 8, verse 11.
It's the book of Amos, chapter 8, and verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing of the words of the Lord.
So that's that river being, or that understanding being withdrawn, because it's going to overflow. Like I said, all of when I say their Esau's, all of his devices is going to be found out. All right. So that river is going to be at its highest, and then suddenly it's going to be withdrawn. It's going to be a famine of the word, because they're not going to be able to take that. They're already extremely prideful. They're so prideful that they'll tell you what they plan on doing 5, 10, 20 years ahead of time in a movie, have you going to paying for it, talking about that's your favorite movie, but they was really trying to predict your destruction. They was talking about you, mocking you, but you the one paying for it. Talking about it's your favorite movie. All right. Go to verse 12.
Verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it.
You see? That's going to be, a Bible is going to be a very, very valued thing in these times, man. It's going to be above all gold, because people are going to realize, like, okay, so this Bible thing, that's what they say. This Bible thing was, I guess it was really real. Gosh, they told me this is going to happen. So those that was like in the middle, they're going to be trying to find the Lord, man. There's all this stuff going on. They're going to be trying to find the Lord, at least, a portion of them. Because we read that prophecy where to the very end, you're going to have people that say, I'm not bowing down to no nigger when they see Howard Shah come back. That's what they're going to say, man. They're going to be destroyed for it instantly. So it's going to be valued. When did we see this? If you've seen the book of Eli, this is what they were trying to show you. The book of Eli, the book of my power. All right. And Who did they have playing that? Denzel Washington. Who is he? A so-called black man. That's who they was trying to. They was trying to let you know who the book is for and who's going to have it. Coincidentally, he was blind, so he was walking by faith, and that's what we're going to touch on later on too as well. All right. You can go to incontinency. So let's just pull this up, because pulling it up on screen is going to bring more to it. Well, at least let's get the other definition, man, because hey, bear with me. All right. So hence it, no, that's not it. Failure. Okay, let's get this. All right, let's look at it. The second definition here. Failure to restrain the passions or appetites, indulgence of lust, lewdness. So, people gonna think that it's over with, which is going to be close to being over with. And, they're going to start letting their sexual desires, be on display. So these type of things, women being ravished and, unfortunately, probably men too, these type of things are going to be multiplied upon the earth. That's what times we're dealing with here. This is not a game. This is not something that, we just think. We know this is going to happen. If you pay attention to what's going on in the world, you should already know this anyway. Not in these type of details unless you have the scriptures, but if you pay attention, you should know that this world was destined, this country or this kingdom was destined to fall. It's built on trash. Any house that doesn't have a strong foundation will fall. And this house does not have a strong foundation. A bunch of master masons coming up and winging it and then involve the Most High. But even if you take that away, like the way the money system is and everything, all this debt, how much debt can this country get into before there's a tremendous bust? All right, you have to think of it that way. The Most High, he works in these levels. He makes these, these prophecies happen, on the supernatural level. You can't see it coming, but from the natural standpoint, that's why somebody, may hit you up out of nowhere and you like, dang, well, how did this happen? That was the Most High working. All right. Or you get a job or something, you're like, man, where did this come from? Or whatever the case is, good or bad, it's the Most High. All right. So let's keep going.
Verse 11. One land also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteousness gone through thee? And it shall say, no.
So they're going to be looking for so-called black men. All right, where's the righteous at? The one that maketh one righteous. Where the Israelites at? I haven't seen one of them. Gosh, I used to see them. I thought they were crazy, but look at us now. Our own people gonna be looking for us too, as well, man. Man, where them brothers at, man? So that's what that's referring to. Now keep going. Verse 12.
Verse 12. At the same time shall men hope, but nothing obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper.
You see, we talked about that in the book of Ecclesiastes last time. All right, get the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 3 again.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 3. And it reads, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened.
Those that look out the windows be darkened. Hope. Gone. All right. Nothing obtained. They're going to hope, but they're not going to wish. I mean, they're not going to have a hopeful thought in those days. Oh man, it's over with. I'm alive, but I might as well be dead. All right. And they're not going to be, we're going to be thinking about, Lord willing, we're going to be thinking about Yahweh Shai's return. Because this is before Yahweh Shai comes, by the way. All right. In the church, they teach you about a quote unquote rapture, which is the elect, not all random people, the elect of Israel being beamed up from the chariots from destruction. But this tribulation is going to happen before Yahweh Shai comes back. All right, that's in the book of Matthew, it's the 24th chapter. All right. So we can get that real quick. Let's get that because I had to pull it up. All right. What did the Lord say to that? Let's give verse 29.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heavens shall be shaken.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days. So they tell you that the tribulation, you know, Yahweh Shai gonna come and beam up random Christians that, you know, pay tithes and go to church and on Sunday for sun worship and you know, do all these pagan rituals like communion, gonna beam them up before the tribulation, but it says after the tribulation. And what happens then?
Verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Because, you know, when I say we, us as a people, we gonna be waiting on Yahweh Shai, man. That's why the tribes of the earth, that's referring to the children of Israel, the 12 tribes, go mourn. He coming to save us. All right, keep going.
Verse 31. And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
So that's when the beaming up from the chariots, or that's when that's going to occur after this time period that we're talking about right now. All right. But back into Ecclesiastes chapter 12, the windows will be dark and the hope will be lost. Okay. All right. Give verse 4.
Verse 4. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low.
The daughters of music shall be brought low. The daughters of music brought low right now. This music is trash, man. It's music that we give every generation. It just gets worse. What's acceptable? Songs get shorter. All the songs 2 minutes longer and shorter now. You know, it's crazy. Doors gonna be shut in the streets. The sound of the grinding is low. Because we just read that. You know, they shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. The sound of grinding is going to be low. All right. And I believe in Matthew, the 24th chapter, it talked about 2 women grinding, or was that in Luke? Yeah, verse 41, 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, and one shall be taken and the other left. All right. And then we could get 5, but it's kind of going to something else. But we got the point there. All right. Let's end out with 2nd Esdras chapter 5 of verse 13.
Okay. The book of 2nd Esdras chapter 5 and verse 13. To show thee such tokens I have leave, and if thou wilt pray again and weep as now, as fast 7 days, it's like it, and fast 7 days, thou shalt hear yet greater things.
So this was Ezra. He fasted 7 days, or he's going to fast 7 days to hear more of the tokens, aka the signs of the end times. And this is the angel talking to him. This angel right here was talking to Ezra. All right, so he had to pray and fast to receive this prophecy. So, you know, we have to keep that in mind. The most powerful thing that we can do to bring ourselves closer to the Most High is to starve the flesh and feed the spirit through a fast. All right. And Ezra was girded, so he fasted a whole week. But, you know, we could at least do a day. All right. We got to keep that in mind. You know, I'm not sure if brothers are putting that, you know, or are implementing that in their schedules or not, but we don't have to talk about it. But, you know, either way, we want to make sure that we're doing that. All right. So let's see. Let's go ahead. Oh, I had this real quick. Just grab verse 1 out of Psalms 127.
The book of Psalms, chapter 127 and verse 1. A song of degrees for Solomon. Except the Lord built the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh, but in vain.
All right. So we were talking about the foundation of this place. You have to understand that it's labor in vain because the Most High is not involved in the building of this house and the building of this kingdom. All right. So we labor in vain if the Most High is not involved. All right. So that was just on that point. But now let's talk about faith. Let's wrap this up and talk about faith. So I wanted to touch on that because as I was going through this lesson, like what it occurred to me is like with the word being on a drought, you know, you're not being able to look up. And what's that precept again? Unless you remember it, of course. But who knows how that's even going to work out. We have to have faith because that's what we're going to be leaning on in these last days is faith. Of course, more than one thing can be true at the same time. So with the Christian church, what they do is they try to act like, oh, it's just about faith. They quote unquote faith. No, you have to keep the commandments. That's how you show faith. It works hand in hand. However, I just want to put emphasis on faith because in these dire times, it's going to be, you know, important. It's going to be vastly important. I can't even put into words how important that's going to be. Let's go ahead and get the definition of faith, though. See the classic Hebrews 11 chapter, verse 1.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for. What are things hoped for? The peace of the kingdom. All right. The kingdom in general. No more crying. No more tears. No more pain. No more wars. You read about that in Revelation, the 21st chapter. All right. The many mansions promised by Yahushua in John, the 14th chapter, starting at verse 2. These are the things that are hoped for. All right. This is why we here right now for the things hoped for, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You can't see Yahushua right now. You can't see the kingdom. You can't see the immortal body that'll be given to the elect. But we have evidence right here in these scriptures. All right, that's what faith is. All right, let's get Revelation chapter 14 and verse 12.
Okay. It's the book of Revelations, chapter 14 and verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahushua.
You said just keep the commandments and you good?
And the faith of Yahushua.
And the faith of Yahushua. So when you think of this, I want you to think of it deeper than just Yahushua, because What is Yahushua? Yahushua is the word. All right, so you have faith of Yahushua. You have faith on the word. You believe. We have to actually believe. And we talk about this all the time. A lot of people, they don't actually believe. They'll read 2nd Esdras chapter 5 and think that's a joke. Matthew 24. All right. All the nations flowing into Israel, Micah chapter 4. They'll think this is a game, man. We have to actually believe. All right. We have to believe on the word. That's faith of Yahushua, faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence. We have to believe this is our evidence right here in this word. And how do we show that? By keeping the commandments of the Most High. All right, increasing our faith. Con, bring it out.
It's the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6, just to support what you said about Yahushua being the word.
Con, I'll bring that out. This is the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. Yahushua saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me.
So right there, he's telling you he's the truth. And according to Psalms 119 and verse 142, the law is the truth. And Yahushua telling you right there, he's the truth and life. And no man cometh unto the Father but by him.
Con. That's the only way you can get through. That's the only way you can get through. He is the life. He's a mediator. You're not going to be able to deal with the Most High directly, man. It's Yahushua that's going to be pleading for you. Father, you know, he did do this. He fell off here. She fell off here, but she did do this. Look what she did here. Look at her spirit. See how she improved from here? See how she gave it all here? She could have did this, or he could have did this. He could have went with them that night, but he didn't. He kept the time short. He watched the time that day. You know, he knew what they were about to do, but he ain't go. She ain't go. You know, she had peer pressure from her family to go keep, you know, go to Halloween party or go keep Christmas, but she ain't do it. That's going to be Yahushua pleading for you. That's why he's the way, the door. All right, you think about a door, it's an entrance way. Hey, he's your entrance way into the kingdom. All right.
Bring that out. Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to believe in, man. We have to believe this thing. We won't just be grabbing precepts and we don't really believe them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen plenty of people that it felt like they knew all the precepts, or at least, you know, I'm just speaking hyperbole here, but they knew a lot of precepts and they end up falling out of the faith, man. So, you know, we don't know what occurs there outside the Most High taking that righteous spirit up off you like he took off of Saul, but we do know that from the surface level, that had to mean that that person did not believe. You know, that's what I think a lot of women do. They come into this thing and they kind of think it's a game, a joke, or they just doing it because, you know, the camp they in or the brother they with keeping the laws, and they just do it just because. No, you have to actually believe this. You know, and if you feel in your spirit that you don't believe like you think you should, you don't have the faith that you should, then you have to pray and fast on that thing, man. You have to read, because the more that you hear the word is the more that you will believe. Let's prove that, though. Make sure I ain't just talking. Let's get Romans chapter 10 and verse 17.
All right. It's the book of Romans chapter 10 and verse 17. And it reads, so then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High.
You got to hear the word to increase your faith. That's what it comes by. So we have to make these sessions. We have to continue to get into our word so we can increase our faith. That's how it's done. Thus saith the Lord. All right. Did brothers have some?
Just to add on to the point there, shoot. I when I'm here on studying, I will read out loud just to hear it being read.
Con, I like that. Con. I need to do that more myself. All right, love that. Let's get Luke chapter 21, verse 36.
The book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 36. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
You have to be accounted worthy. Don't think just because you didn't came into the knowledge. We can't think that just because we came into the knowledge. So on and so forth is accounted worthy. So you may be accounted worthy. We're not saved. All right, so we have to strive every day. And now we're going to talk a little bit. That's what we just get into. We're talking about watching these signs, watching these tokens, because it increases your faith. Let's get Revelation chapter 3 and verse 3.
It's the book of Revelations chapter 3 and verse 3. And it reads, remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know at what hour I will come upon thee.
So if those not watching, all these prophecies that we read about, you know, the time of tribulation, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks, man. Because you're not watching, you're not paying attention, you're not aware. You know, with the conscious community, quote unquote, what they call being woke. All right. I don't like that term because, you know, it's mostly Negroes that don't believe in a word that say woke. So I would never say I'm woke. But, you know, in this instance, you need to know what's going on. You need to be awake. You need to be aware. All right. So that Yahweh shall come by like a thief in the night. You know, you sleeping, you thinking it's all good, you know, and then you just come through. Because that's how it's gonna be. You know, time is dwindling down. You know, for us that's, you know, in the latter 20s and 30s, so on and so forth, all the way up to 50s, 60s. I mean, think about it. We feel like we were just, you know, 10 years younger. The time just be snapping by. So will not the Lord proceed in the same manner where it feels like just a day? You know, like Jacob, when he was, you know, waiting on his wife, he was waiting on Leah, or Rachel. Did not that 7 years pass by, you know, in a short period of time for him? That's how it's going to be, man, for us. You know, it's time passing by quickly. All right. And let's get another classic. Let's get the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39, and start at verse 1.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 39, and verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies.
Yeah, be occupied in prophecies. This all speaks for itself. I don't even have to add anything to this. It's just music to my ears. I love hearing this. Keep going up.
Verse 2, he will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also.
It's just so beautiful, man. I just love the way this is written. He will keep the sayings of renowned men. So that's why we hearken back to Israel. aka Jacob, to King David, to King Solomon, to Elisha. All right. That's why we harken back to these renowned men. All right, because we're trying to keep their sayings and see what we need to learn from them. All right, for admission. Just get verse 3.
Verse 3, he will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables.
That's why we have to be conversant, man, in dark parables. See what we can figure out, what the Lord's saying to us, man. And dark sayings. And if, for those that don't know, dark saying is basically what we call the meat of the scriptures, the harder things to interpret. All right, that's a dark parable, a dark saying. All right, that's all that means. Those that didn't know. All right, so we got the point there. That's how we build our faith up. All right, giving our mind to the law of the Most High. Occupied in the meditation thereof. Seek out the wisdom of the ancient and occupied in prophecies. All right. Just like in Sirach 2, what did it tell us? Get that real quick. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? No. So we got to follow the ways of renowned men. All right. So let's for the sake of time, let's get the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4.
It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4, and it reads, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith.
The just shall live by his faith. That's what you're going to have in the last days is faith. All right. When you see more perverseness in the world, you're going to have faith to live by. All right. Just like, again, we brought out in the book of Eli, that movie. Denzel Washington played as Eli, which was blind. But you didn't know it. You watched an hour and a half or however long that movie is. And probably for most of the audience, probably didn't realize he didn't blind. I know I didn't the first time I saw it. I didn't realize it. He was walking by faith. That's how strong he was in the scriptures. Matter of fact, he said the whole Bible from front to back without seeing anything. He had the scriptures in his mind, just like Jeremiah, the 31st chapter, starting at 31st verse, in Hebrews 8, starting at the 8th verse, like it talks about the word of the Lord being in your heart, being in your mind. All right, they were bringing that out as well. They know who we are. They know who we are. All right, let's bring out 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13.
It's the book of 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13. Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach.
So that grace to be brought into you, that's not referring to a time period where you get to do wherever you want. That doesn't even fit in this verse here. Hope to the end for the grace. If it's at the end, I thought grace was this middle period before Yahushua comes back. All right, so hope to the end for that power to be brought into you. All right, for you to make it into the end. All right, make it at the end. So gird up your loins of your mind, be sober. All right, we got to gird up our minds. Increase our faith. And why is that? Let's get the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 9 through 10.
It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 9. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath care for his elect.
So to understand the truth, you have to have the word. The word is Yahushua, and Yahushua is the truth. If you don't accept Yahushua, you don't have the truth. You just have a lie. You got a watered down version of whatever it is you got going on.
That's right.
All right. Keep going.
Verse 10, but the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Most High.
That's what's going to happen to the unrighteous and the ungodly, because they lean on their own understanding. You know, Proverbs 3 and 5, that's one of the most quoted scriptures. Lean not on your own understanding, roughly paraphrasing. It's unfortunate most of the people that post that and know it are actually those that are leaning on their own understanding. It's unfortunate. All right. So let's end this. This is Revelation 1 and 3. Blessed he that readeth and hear the words of this prophecy. So getting another point on reading and watching for the word. All right, so let's end out on these two scriptures here. 2nd Esdras chapter 15. And go ahead and just start at the top.
The book of 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord.
Keep going.
And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true.
These words are faithful and true. What we read in 2nd Esdras chapter 5, that's faithful and true, man. So, you know, we can think it's a game if we want to. Yahushua gonna come through like a thief in the night. The time of tribulation is gonna come through like a thief in the night if you're not watching. Blessed is he that readeth. All right, that's occupied in prophecy. Conversing in dark parables. Keep going.
Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee.
Keep going.
For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
Oh, say that one more time, Mark.
For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
You gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. The unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Those that look out the window and see no hope. Those that are in the land, it's gonna be barren of faith. It's going to die in the unfaithfulness. All right. It gives verse 5 just for a little bit more on what we already know.
Good. Verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
That's what's coming to this place, man. Once it hits America, the whole world is finished. Okay, this is a central hub of the entire planet Earth. When America goes down, North America, United States, once this goes down, everything else is just up in chaos itself. All right, the sword, famine, death, destruction. It didn't say, you know, famine only to those that didn't store 1,000 kidney beans in they shed. It says famine, death, and destruction. You know, that's coming for the unfaithful. All right. And to be honest, even for the elect, you know, but that's for a whole different purpose, not because of them being unfaithful. Now, I just want to end out with this, because we have to remember that, well, one thing that we have to remember is that these things are going to come to pass. All right. Right now, people don't know, at least in the masses, they don't know who the children of Israel are, but we can't be astonished at that, because it's going to come to pass, man. So let's start at, this is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 7. Well, I said 7. Chapter 16, Slakia. And then we're going to start at, I was thinking about the verse. We're going to start at, let's get verse 70 and keep going.
It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16 and verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
So they're going to target the men of the Lord and the women of the Lord that fear the Lord and keep the commandments. All right. All the narratives that they have right now in America, the number one enemy they try to make out to be our Trump supporters, because the Trump supporters, they don't believe in a vaccine and they're racist and, they're behind all the evils, when really the people telling you that are the most wicked ones, being puppeted by those that work directly with Satan. All right. That is Satan. All right. That red dragon, that old serpent. All right. So instead of Trump supporters being who everyone demonizes, whether they, do anything or not, it's going to be the children of Israel that's demonized. That's going to be the end thing. Oh my gosh, they're out here. They still believe in that old Bible thing. We're going to be the target. We're going to have the target on our backs. Keep going.
Verse 71. They shall be like mad men, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses.
And a lot of our own people are going to give us up, our own family. All right. Yeah, my brother, he in there, he the one that he keeps the commandments. Keep going.
Verse 73. They shall be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire.
Then it shall be known who are my chosen. It's not going to be a question anymore. It's that everybody's going to know that the quote unquote Jewish, they were fakes. It's going to be known because we're going to be the ones that's going to be persecuted, not them. They're going to be the ones doing it. From my understanding, I need to pull up the literature on it, but the quote unquote Jewish, they're the ones that own the most slaves. They've always had most of the resources. That tribe of Esau has always been the most wicked. That's why we were supposed to get rid of them a long time ago. But Saul didn't do it. All right, and that was prophesied to happen that way. But anyway, we see what's going on here. That's why we have to have faith, man. When all this is going on, that's the only thing that the upright is going to have to stand on, to walk in faith, like we read in Habakkuk, the second chapter. All right, and then let's end out with verse 74 through 75. We'll end at 75.
Verse 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same.
All right. I will deliver you from the same. Keep going.
Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide.
All right. Slakia, not to bear false witness, but let's actually end on 76.
Verse 76. And the God of them who keep my commandments and my precepts, saith the Lord God, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves.
Thus saith the Lord. He'll be our God through faith, through keeping the commandments and the precepts. Let not your sins weigh you down. All right. So that's my conclusion of 2nd Esdras chapter 5. Also going into faith in these last days. And with that, I yield.
Great lesson.
Beautiful lesson.